Howdy, howdy, it's episode 40 of Bonfire Man. Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough. All right, so today we've got the Mage Training Arena is the new chunk. Okay, here we are at the chunk boundary. Let's go ahead and cross the fog wall. Cool, and of course, let's light the bonfire. Music track unlocked, never accidentally stumbled here, that's cool. And let's rest. Great, everything has respawned. So, tasks. Not a lot to do here. There's 8 trees, 2 magic trees, and then there's the Mage Training Arena itself. There's a whole bunch of mini games within the Mage Training Arena. There's Telekinetic, Alchemist, Graveyard, and Enchanter games. I have thoughts as to what the restrictions should be around those, or rather what the lack of restrictions should be. But let's go ahead and do the chunk overview first, and I'll come back. Okay, let's take a look at the whole chunk map and talk about what we're working on. There's a link in the description to skip back to the playthrough if you're not interested in this update. We're coming up real close on having completed 1/8 of RuneScape. Let's look first at all of the chunks that are 100% complete. These are chunks in which we've exhausted every possible exhaustible node. Doing so makes all content in that chunk optional for all future cycles. And we have more options for training certain skills in these 100% completed chunks. All trees can be reduced to stumps, all fishing spots can be fished until they move, all thieving nodes can be interacted with 28 times each. We can mine each shooting star to depletion. We can run rooftop courses until a Mark of Grace spawns, and we can buy out the shop stock at least once in every cycle. No changes here from last episode, although the chunk we just unlocked, the Mage Training Arena, we will be able to 100% complete this cycle, which is going to let us deplete the magic trees that spawn in that chunk. There are only 2 magic trees there, and we probably can't use magic logs for a long time, but it's nice to have that unlocked. So let's take a look at chunks that are blocked from being completed. Quest blocked chunks. Quests start in these chunks and we don't have the necessary requirements to finish them. Usually the requirement is more chunk unlocks. Skill blocked chunks, there are 4. 2 of them are construction related. We need to build master stashes in those 2 construction chunks. It will probably never happen on this account. The other 2 are blocked by agility, the Falador rooftop course and the Polnivniche rooftop course. More realistic that we might do them eventually, but still pretty far off. You'll notice that I've marked the Elder Chaos Druid chunk complete. Technically, there's a hard stash there that we have to build using 55 construction. I am able to go build that, but I'm just marking it complete now because it doesn't change anything regardless. Real quick, while talking about skill-blocked chunks, let's talk about Slayer. I currently cannot do Slayer because I'm blocked by a Desert Lizard task. Desert Lizards spawn in the 3 highlighted chunks in red there, so if I roll any of those chunks, I'll be able to continue doing Slayer. After that, we've got item-blocked chunks. I need a bird snare and a big fishing net to do things down in the Soul Isle. And finally, chunk-blocked chunks. We can't complete these chunks because there's content on the edges that we can't get to right now. The new one here is the Edgeville Ditch chunk. There's some trees that I can't get to until we roll the Edgeville Monastery to the south. And that's just about everything. Let's go ahead and get back to the playthrough here. Right, so the problem with the Mage Training Arena is that any restriction I place on it, the number of times I'm able to engage with it is double dipping because unlike a lot of other minigames, this minigame consumes a ton of runes and resources. If I just wanted to do the telekinetic minigame, for example, I would run out of law runes today. 168 law runes doesn't stretch very far. I'm already extremely limited on runes. Even once I finally have a refreshing shop stock of some of these more exotic runes, I'm still going to be limited by money. So I'm leaning on the edge of just saying, I can do Mage Training Arena as much as I want, which is to say very little, because it's, if not my least favorite content in the game, it's quite close to it. I know this probably raises some questions about, there are 2 other skills that I'm effectively double dipping on right now. I'm double dipping on Runecraft, in that, yes, I'm limited on Runecraft because I need to have a certain amount of pure essence to be able to make runes, and yet I still say I can only make, you know, 1 set of runes per altar. And construction, I'm limited in how much money I have to turn logs into planks, and yet I'm saying I can only build one of each object in the player-owned house per cycle. I've explained my rationale for that in the past, but I guess the idea is that if I don't add an additional restriction on Runecraft and construction, I'm just going to play those 2 skills exactly like a normal account, which is what I'm trying to avoid here, right? I already have effectively infinite access to both logs and I guess money. I could go broke on construction if I really wanted to, but I definitely have infinite access to pure essence right now. I think I'm sitting on, how much? 52,000 pure essence, yeah. So if I was able to just use that to my heart's content, I would just craft whatever the most efficient rune was forever and grind Runecraft up, which is, you know, kind of contrary to the philosophy of the account. Mage Training Arena, I mean, I guess if I can do it as much as I want, that's kind of similar to a normal account. If I don't allow myself to do it as much as I want, it's going to take like hundreds of cycles to get enough points to buy the things that are relevant. Bones to Peaches is probably the most relevant thing. The Master Wand is the next most relevant, and then the like Infinity Robe set is completely optional. But I am so limited on runes, even if I get a refreshing shop stock in the future, that I think spending the runes on Mage Training Arena is going to be an interesting decision, because it's going to be not spending those runes on something else. Like I absolutely cannot afford to spend, I can't spend cosmic runes at the enchanter minigame. It's super not worth it. I can't spend law runes at the telekinetic game. It's super not worth it, right? Nature runes at either the graveyard or the alchemist game would be horrible. A complete waste of them. What I'm probably going to do, I'm going to 100% complete the chunk here. That means I'm going to chop all 8 trees, both magic trees, and I'm going to do each of these mini games once to show that I've, you know, done them once. And then once it's 100% cleared, I'll enjoy that I can deplete these magic trees in future cycles. And I'm probably just not going to touch Mage Training Arena for a long time after this. If it becomes relevant, if I'm close to being able to finish the, was it the Lumbridge Hard Diary, I think requires Bones to Peaches? Yeah. Yeah, so if the Lumbridge Hard Diary ever seriously becomes on the table, that's when I would likely come back to actually try to grind that spell out. And then I don't think I'd bother with the Master Wand. Ooh, unless we could change Chambers of Xeric. I don't see that happening for many thousands of hours. So yeah, I think the very short version here is this isn't a very impactful chunk because there's nothing really from the reward shop that is useful for me. I am going to go ahead and complete it, though. It would be nice to be able to tap out the 2 magic trees. That's a decent amount of AFK, and the magic logs might be useful down the line. No, actually, there is a shooting star here that I'm going to go ahead and add. I will be able to deplete that in future cycles. Pretty sure that tree down there is inaccessible. I can, yeah, I don't think it's possible, even if I had this chunk unlocked. Because you have to be on this side of the fence and on this side of the rocks. And that is not possible. So that is an inaccessible tree. I'll have to adjust the list here. That's technically all the regular trees done. To chop my first ever magic tree, this might take a second. There it is. Elite task in the Lumberton Drainer area. Let me go chop the other one. That was faster than I was expecting. Okay, magic trees are done. I'll fix this later to tree 7 instead of tree 8. Let's do one of each of these mini games, which means I think I have to run back to the bank really quick. I think there's one down here. Yeah, gotta get runes. My progress hat, which adds to the miserable shame of Mage Training Arena. I don't think I actually have to have it equipped, but I hate this mini game so much. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do one of each mini game here. Lock a bunch of songs for this. One where they add all kinds of insult to injury, where they like, when they ask if you want another maze, you're required to say yes, please, with an exclamation point. Okay. Maze is done. 2 telekinetic pizzazz points. Do not want another one of these. Go do the other 3. Yeah, this is one that if I didn't have some kind of custom rule set would make no sense, because I can't come in here and just like alch one thing, right? That we would never finish Mage Training Arena at all. So that's my one thing in Mage Training Arena, I guess. I think I have to turn... Do I get nothing if I don't have at least 100 coins? think that's right. I think I have to have at least 100 coins to get anything, so I might actually alch until I get at least 100. I went to 300, so I wouldn't waste any casts. Absolutely terrible. What an awful minigame. All right, doing enchanters next. I think I'm just gonna enchant one dragonstone and then pop out of here. Gets me 10 points. Oops, and then that just leaves a graveyard. Don't have a great inventory for this, sadly, but what are you gonna do? I know there's a pattern to this, but it really doesn't matter with my current inventory. And deposit in the food chute. You've been awarded a death rune. Okay. 1 pizzazz point in the graveyard. There we go. Victory achieved. The shooting star will be able to tap out next cycle. That was pretty fast. Let's go ahead and move on with the rest of the cycle. That took 12 minutes. Here comes 37 hours of fun. I was telling somebody that I just got the Mage training arena, and they were like, oh god, do you have to like unlock everything to complete the chunk? And the answer is no. An extreme 1 chunk Iron Man would have to, but we just have to exhaust all the exhaustible tasks, which is the trees, magic trees, and then doing each of the mini games 1 time. So I will not have to do that, mercifully, and I wouldn't be able to anyway if I was only allowed to exhaust everything once, because there's no way to get enough points. It would take like 10,000 hours. Looks like we got a shooting star reported at the Alcarid mine. It's on the public scope, so I might not be able to stay there for very long, but I'm gonna go give it a try. Okay, so I might not be able to get 2 hours out of this, but I'm gonna try. That was quite possibly one of my most lucrative stars ever. I actually got like 200 and almost 2,500 Stardust. I also used the 329 of it to charge my ring. 45k mining XP and like 2,500 Stardust. That was great. Nobody else showed up. It's a little crazy right now because we had that big like service outage where the game was offline for like a whole day, and then they didn't do a game update because of that. And on top of it, British servers were offline for like an extra day. So everything is out of whack right now. There aren't actual waves for shooting stars. Since I've already got my mining stuff together here, I think I'm just going to continue working on mining for now. All right, so we got another star here. This one's been sitting here for about 20 minutes, so I don't think it's going to be as much XP in Stardust, but let's go. Okay, this one degraded. I'm headed off to the next one in Lumbridge Swamp West. All right, I'm here at the T3. This should last about 1 hour and 45 minutes, if last time was any indication. We'll see. Got a Quizmaster random. Let's see what's in the box. Casket. Forget what could be in this. All right, I looked it up. The only thing interesting from it is a cosmic talisman. Otherwise, it has coins and gems and halves of keys that I don't care about. Let's see what we get, though. Coins. About to hit 76 mining. There it is. On the path to 85. All right, finished mining this one out. I'm going to go bank really quick and see if I can pick up another shooting star. Another Quizmaster random. Just working on regular mining here. Let's see what it is. Mystery box. Steel plate body. Okay, I'll take it. Pretty good. 4 bars at Giant's Foundry. Here at Motherlode Mine, pretty good initial pull. 4 golden nuggets from my first batch of 3 bits of pay dirt. We want to get 6 per cycle-ish, I think. All right, we got another 4 nuggets on the second group there. So that's ahead of the curve. We're behind the curve overall because that entire first cycle that I got to Motherlode Mine, I got 0 gold nuggets. So I think we have 8. We should have, let's see, we have 14, we should have 18. I've had to pass on several stars now due to there being too many people there, but I think I got this one okay. T6. All right, made it through that star completely solo, 1 hour and 55 minutes. Not bad. So I'm very happy about this. I have been blocked from depleting yew trees for a really long time because of accidentally marking the Ham Hideout chunk complete without having completed Lost City. This is the cycle where I finally catch up. I can deplete 2 yew trees. So this will be one of them, and the other one's going to be over in the lumberyard. And then next cycle, I'll be able to do all 4 that I have access to again. And it turned into a stump on my first chop. Perfect. Poetic, even. All right, finally got the Dwarven Mine Star. This is probably the roughest one to get, because people like to swarm it, the people who are soloing it. We'll see how long I can hold it for. Another maze random, that's nice. All right, what do we get? Coins, 66 coal. Hell yeah. Live for it. Somebody else did show up here partway through. I still made it about an hour and 47 minutes in, so that's about as good as you're going to get. I'm not too salty about it. All right, it's depleted. Pretty good, though. I've got one more shooting star to pick up here, and it's the one in the East Swamp. Hey, I was doing my fishing grind. I got an easy casket, 2-stepper. So let's go ahead and see what we get. Still lots of good things could come from these. That ain't it, Chief. That's black plate legs. Bummer. A little bit of farming. I need to buy some more bucket packs. I think I'm going to buy 2 of them. Went ahead and updated that in my tracker here. I think there's another place I can get bucket packs. They're somewhat expensive. They're like 5K each or something. I'm going to put a chunk of them back in with the tool leprechaun here. Fishing level 60. All right, I'm wrapping up fishing, so I'm about to do temporas. I've screwed this up for a few cycles, so hopefully I don't make any mistakes this time. I think I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I can still screw this up, but I haven't made the mistakes I usually make up to this point, so hopefully things go okay. I have to load 6 in the other box to make sure I get a final round here. All right, I did that perfectly. You can get basically a 4th phase if you load both crates. You get 10 permits. I think you just get 10 permits every time you do it that way. It's kind of crazy, actually. Regaining the buckets that I spent. All right, 10 permits. Let's see what we get. I must have just passed a new threshold. I think that's my first ever bass. Soaked pages are cool. 2 soaked page rolls. And that's it. Lots of spirit flakes, though, so I'm happy with it. Got a nice dunce random here. I'm going to throw another thing on Hunter in a second. Just over here finishing up my maple logs for the cycle. Yeah, let's put that on Hunter. Hunter level 12. Cool. I can't talk a bunch, but I just got 30 zeal. 33 zeal in the second game. Yeah, sorry I wasn't able to talk very much there, but I got 63 zeal, so I'm going to get not very good games here. Lost both of them, but I'm going to get 2 spoils of war. What do we get? 215 coal. That's what we're here for. Excellent. That was a huge coal roll. And that one's not so good, although I'll take the adamant arrows. Those will be useful. All right, finally got a shooting star at East Lumbridge Swamp and start mining it here. Just hit mining 77. 8 levels to go. All right, it just despawned. I got 288,000 mining XP this cycle, which is a record. I ended up getting the full 2 hours almost out of every single one of them. I'm curious to see how much Stardust I got and how much potential crafting XP that represents, so I'm going to go do that now. 11,350 Stardust this cycle. That is nuts. I don't think we're going to be close to 70 crafting still, but we're getting there. Yeah, look at that. Almost 1 million GP worth of gems here. 745 sapphires. Okay, well, we're not level 70, but we're closer than I thought we'd be. Can get to 68 based on banked gems. So as soon as I can get to 70, I'm going to grind that out so that we can make an Amulet of Power, which is a pretty big upgrade. All right, I'm done with the main 4 skilling activities. I just finished thieving by doing the blackjacking here, which is really annoying, honestly. Never managed to make blackjacking work for me on my my main account either. Don't think I ever will. But now we're on to mostly PVM. I have some other non-PVM stuff to do, but I'm going to start by killing the bandits and snakes here. Man, I'm on a roll with caskets lately. Last one was terrible. Let's see if we have a bad time with this one. That's a completely terrible easy casket. Wow. Studded chap, studded body. Finally getting the mythical good Mark of Grace spawn rate. Let's see. 13 laps in, still no spawn. It's probably going to spawn now that I said something, but... Oh, 14. All right, a Mark finally spawned. I'll let you know how many laps it was in a second. It was 16 total laps, so not 20, but still pretty good. This skeleton should cause me to hit strength 77. Not quite. Gotta find one more. Should get it on this one. There it is, strength 77. Still working through PVM here, but in the process, I am going to make rings of forging, a bunch of them, and I'm probably gonna make a bunch of dueling rings too, because I haven't done that yet. I can probably justify making games necklaces and then adding those to the chunk picker,
I have access to enough gems and bars now that I should have infinite teleports to those locations. I think I should probably allow that, but I have to look at what the actual optional teleports are first. The reason I think I'd be okay with doing that is because I have access to so many more cosmic runes now through the Sudoku boxes from Rogue Trader. If I didn't have enough supply of cosmic runes, I think it would be a bad idea, but because I can get away with it, probably starting this episode, I will add teleport jewelry destinations that aren't locked behind progress onto the chunk picker. And so it looks like the games necklace in particular would get us to Burthorpe Games Room, which I already have on my list from a minigame teleport. Corp Beast Lair, which I already have on my list as an adjacent chunk. It will not get us into Tears of Guthix because we have to do the quest for that, and it will not get us to Wintertot because we have to have been to Zia at least once. Right now, Zia is a rollable chunk, so I guess Wintertot wouldn't be rollable until we get into Zia by other means. So the short version is the only change is that it would add Barbarian Outpost as a rollable chunk. I'm looking at the other options here. Just trying to make a bunch of dueler rings just to have them, you know. Ring of Dueling would just be Castle Wars, which we already have as a rollable chunk because we can get there from the Grand Exchange. I'm not going to add the Necklace of Passage teleport destinations because I don't have as much access to Jade. Like, I effectively have infinite access to all of these gems now, thanks to Shooting Stars. But I don't have anywhere near infinite access to Jades, and I break them constantly when I try to craft them, so that one won't be on the list, and obviously I still don't have Red Topaz. So I think adding teleport jewelry for now basically just means adding the Barbarian Outpost or the Games Necklace. Yeah, that's literally it, because everything else is already rollable. I guess Wintertot becomes a rollable chunk once we get into Zia, so I think that increases the value of rolling a Zia chunk. All right, I'm gonna go buy a water staff. I'm gonna enchant all this stuff, so I've got, let's see, 26 sapphire necklaces to turn into Games Necklaces, which I can't use at all because I don't have the ability to teleport to those locations. But I want to have them on hand to justify adding the Barbarian Outpost as a rollable chunk and eventually Wintertot whenever we get into Zia. And then I'm also going to make, I think it's like 26 or so Rings of Dueling. It's actually like 42 Rings of Dueling. I have a bunch of them from Bird Nests and stuff, emerald necklaces. So that's going to make a pretty big dent in my Cosmic Rune stock, but I think it's going to be worth just having the ability to go use the pool in Ferox Enclave and then get back out and go back to Al Kharid. I might try to start keeping a Ring of Dueling on me when I'm just doing content. It's going to be convenient. A really good situation with coal this cycle. 463, a lot of that is the 200 plus drop from Soul Wars and the one I got from a maze random, and the 98 or so coal we have to mine manually, and all of the coal from Motherlode Mine. So yeah, I think we're finally, we're not quite at a point where coal is self-sustaining, but we're close. I think if we're ever able to do that upper level of the Motherlode Mine, once I get 100 gold nuggets, which is a long time away, I think we're just going to be set on coal finally, and I'll be able to actually use adamant ore and maybe start making steel, but we'll see. Decided to take some time to level up cooking. Well, mostly just to cook all my raw food so I don't have to worry about it for the future. Cooking 65. Their maze event while cooking. I'd love to get some more coal here. Let's see. Steel arrows, chaos runes, and death runes. So pretty good, but no coal. There's cooking 66. I'm trying to save all of my raw lobsters until they won't be burned, but I feel like that's going to take a really long time. I have to double check here. Yeah, without access to the Hasidius range or to cooking gauntlets, it's level 74. That lobsters don't burn anymore. So that's, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I'm just going to keep saving the ones I have for now. I don't really need the extra point or so of healing. Overdone the cooking a little bit. I probably don't have to cook for a really long time now. Just
Warning,
trying to
level
hit
up
67 soon. Cooking off of chickens, I guess. There it is, 67. Not an important level, you know, just wanted to get a level up before I stopped. All right, here comes Prayer 53, and I'm once again, I'm always considering stopping picking up bones, but it's a lot of levels to get just from regular bones, right? I don't get very much prayer XP per cycle. Looked at my XP tracker, and on average, I get about 4,421 prayer XP per cycle, almost entirely from regular bones. There's going to be a point where picking them up is actually a waste of time, right? Like, it's going to get to a point where the XP required to level up is just, it's not going to be worth it. it's hard. It feels bad leaving them behind, especially since I have a limited amount of resources I can get to. And it doesn't take, I say it doesn't take that many extra clicks to bury them, but it kind of does. It does. You have to click on the bone, you have to click on it in your inventory, the whole thing like tick delays you. I would say I'll keep burying them until 70 prayer, because piety is the last, that's the last level that I would care about. I guess arguably I can do altar training now because I have the Oln of Niche house portal. I could bring a stack of noted like big bones, for example, and I do have clean Marintills, although I only have 72. Those are all the ones that I've gotten from Sorceress's Garden to date. So that would only be 36 trips of like big bones or better. But I guess I could use that as an excuse for why I'm going to stop burying regular bones, because I finally have a new method of training prayer. I could also wait, I guess I could wait until I get access to Taverley and actually get the ability to clean these other grimy Marintills. Oh, it feels so dirty leaving them on the ground, but it's so liberating. I just hid them so that I can't pick them up without right-clicking. It's okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna stop picking up bones. It's gonna save me maybe 30 minutes to an hour per cycle. The savings in brain space and attention is probably worth it, we'll put it that way. So I got a little distracted earlier. I was gonna buy a water staff so that I could enchant all those games necklaces. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna sit and just enchant all of my teleport jewelry. Now I have one of each elemental staff, which means the next easy clue I do is probably gonna drop one of these. Okay, so I've got 26 potential games necklaces here. Here we go. To be able to do this, I needed to have both access to the Motherlode mine to get tons of gold. And also I needed to have access to being able to turn in my Stardust for gems. I feel like I have effectively infinite access to gems. I don't have effectively infinite access to gold still, even though I get a lot from Motherlode Mine. But it's enough, I think, that I can have plenty to be able to make as many teleport necklaces as I need to places. All right, there we go. 26 games necklaces. I will be happy to add Barbarian Outpost as a legal chunk roll location, and I'll also add Wintertot once we actually get into Zia. Doing dueling rings next. And there we go. 42 dueling rings. Probably should have made those a while ago, but it's okay. We made them now. Yeah, I'll keep trying to stay stocked in teleport jewelry. This could save me a ton of time if I remember to use it to go to Ferox to use the pool, and then use it again to go to like Al Kharid. But it's nice to have either way. Honestly, I say I should have done it a while ago, but I really only could have done it as of last cycle, because last cycle is when I got the Sudoku boxes, before I had very limited trickling of cosmic runes. Yeah, I got a total of 85 cosmic runes from every possible source between chunk 26 and chunk 54. And then I think 54 and 55. And then I got 33 last one, so. It's a genie. Excellent. Trade on Hunter, please.
Warning. Level
Thank
up
you.
soon.
18 XP to 13. Oh god, I'm chewing. Dunce. Dunce, right after a genie. Wish I would have gotten those in the other order, because then I would have gotten a little bit more XP, but that's okay. Let's put that on Hunter. Hunter level 13. All right, and I think one more will get us to 14. Well, I got an Ensouled Demon Head up here. That's probably fine to telegrab. Barely ever get anything from that demon. Yeah, it's just raining caskets over here. I got this one from a Sour Hog, yeah. So I think I looked on the chunk picker, and it's a 44% chance for me to complete easy caskets now. So that's actually pretty reasonable. I should be able to do a couple of these per episode. Let's see what we get though. Okay, that's terrible. And I really got lucky on those early easy caskets. I got the black pickaxe super early. Okay, I'm over here in the Ent Forest. I'm going to skip chopping or fully depleting one of the Ents, but I'll do the other three and report back. Yeah, so this first one I'm only going to tap once, and then I'll chop the rest of them to depletion. Here we go. 2 maple logs. All right, chop the rest. I'm going to get a surprisingly decent number of magic logs from doing this. I guess only because my woodcutting level is already high enough to chop them. It wouldn't be a solution for like an Iron Man that needs them for quests and doesn't want to level their woodcutting up. I should have made these rings of dueling last episode. They're really useful. Ferox should basically be my base with the pool of refreshment. Really annoying. I just unlocked Fanfare because I clicked this gardener to attack him and I got pulled like this. Don't understand how pathing works in this game sometimes. Hit points, 72. Let me go ahead and do my Sudoku for the cycle here real quick. I gotta grab some money though. All right, open both caskets. 42k for the second casket, but yeah, it's still 24 law runes, 25 cosmic runes. Pretty good stuff. I will be doing that every cycle for sure. Mike was shit in the bed there. Okay, we're at Calphite Queen. Let's see what we get. This is so fast now. I keep talking about it every episode, but I can't believe I was doing that horrible limpwort style for so long. Coming up on the end of the kill here. I'm just waiting for the last hit. Of course, now that I hit start recording, I can't hit. Is that it? There we go. Nice. What we get? 250 rune arrows. Okay. Slightly more interesting than what we usually get. That's pretty decent alch too, if I can get the nature runes for it from Soul Wars. Okay, so I've effectively finished the PVM part of the cycle. I still have a handful of things to do like construction, Giant's Foundry. Giant's Foundry is going to take me a while. I have 122 mithril bars to work through here. I'm going to have to save some of them because I don't have enough iron to match. So now that I'm actually getting in range of being able to buy some of the Smith set, I'm realizing that it's actually not very helpful for me compared to any other account. It does speed things up both at a anvil and here in the Giant's Foundry, but it doesn't actually cause you to gain any more smithing XP. So I think that me not getting it was not as much of a misplay as I thought. I think getting the Colossal Blade was actually the correct first choice. I mean, maybe I also got the molds first, so molds first and then the Colossal Blade. I'm trying to decide if I want the smithing catalyst instead of the smith's trousers. Requires half the amount of coal and twice the XP. The catalyst might be better for me, honestly. As much as it would be neat to get the smith's outfit, I think it's useless to me, honestly, because it's just speed. Speed is great if you have an unlimited amount of ore, but I don't. So I don't care if I'm here for twice as long if I'm getting the same amount of XP. This would actually increase the amount of XP I get. And bars. Yeah, man, I'm sitting here staring at this. I think the smithing catalyst is the correct thing to dump points on. I want to save enough to be able to buy the level 79, 80, and 81 molds when I get close to them. But in the meantime, I think the smith's tunic is a trap for me. It's not worth all the points that it would cost to get the full outfit. Kovacs grog would be nice to have in case I need a boost to something, but I don't know if there's anything I really need a boost to. And the double ammo mold isn't going to be relevant for a long time. And my understanding is that the ore pack is actually quite bad. Doesn't give a very good set of ores for how expensive it is. But if I can use this to make even adamant bars for 3 coal per adamant bar, or mithril bars for 2 coal per mithril bar, yeah, I'll think about it. I might just buy a ton of these catalysts. We'll see. I guess the thing with the catalysts is that they're less good once I have access to the blast furnace, because the blast furnace accomplishes the same thing. It doesn't give me the extra XP, but you already barely get any XP for smithing bars. So maybe the play is all reputation goes into smithing catalysts until we unlock blast furnace, and then once we have blast furnace, then we can start working on getting the smith's outfit, because this doesn't matter anymore. I think that's going to be my strategy. About to ding 72 smithing here. Being really bad commissions. 72 smithing. All right, I'm pretty much out of bars. I have some bronze bars left over, but I think I'll be able to make use of those later. Ended up getting about 93k smithing XP from this. Lots and lots of coal compared to prior cycles. Did a really good job of draining my bank. I decided to go ahead and just drain all of the iron, steel, and mithril stuff on the argument that if I do get the emote clue item, like if I do get the stash associated with that emote clue, I'll just craft the item. I get enough bars now every cycle that that's not going to be a huge drain, and I'd rather get the benefit of using them in the Giant's Foundry now. But yeah, I'm still sitting on 74 bronze bars that I can't do anything with at the moment, sadly. I've been sitting here thinking about that smithing catalyst, and while I think it is generally true that using coal on mithril is correct for my account, I think if I get smithing catalyst, because those are themselves limited, it's more efficient for me to use them on making adamant bars. And I can start doing a very small handful of 14 adamant, 14 mithril Giant's Foundry swords. I'm probably going to go around and do a quick tour and buy up all the adamant gear from the shops I have access to, since I never got around to doing that. Now that I can actually, smith stuff here. But yeah, I think I'm going to go dump all of my points into catalysts. I know catalysts are really bad. I don't think any other account that exists would buy these. I think even Limpwort was like, that's a waste of money. But it is not a waste of money for me. It is better than everything else that's available to me in terms of eking out the most possible XP out of every resource that I have. So yeah, I think I'm just going to buy a ton of these here. Okay, yeah, I ended up being able to get 127 catalysts, which is more than enough to cover all of my existing adamant. It actually makes me curious. I might be able to go infinite on those. That is, I might be able to always have enough reputation to buy enough smithing catalysts to cover all of my adamantite ore. I guess we'll see as future cycles progress. I'm curious, just from making a single adamantite plus mithril sword, my reason for using it on adamantite and possibly eventually on rune before we get access to the blast furnace is that it's saving the most coal, right? If I use it on mithril, I save 2 coal. If I use it on adamantite, I save 3 coal and still end up with a bar on the other end of it. And this is 1 fewer coal than it cost me to make a mithril bar otherwise. I don't know if it's correct for me to use literally every last one of these on the adamantite, or if I should split it between the adamantite and the mithril. I'll try to think about that a bit, but it's certainly an interesting problem. Shoot, I misclicked the altar and accidentally made water runes twice. I'm going to go ahead and still come back and make mud runes, but I'll just leave a note to myself to skip water runes next cycle. Okie doke, we're here in Poldovnic. It's time to do construction training. All right, done with all my construction. Last thing left to do is last man standing, so let's go knock that out. Fortunately, I'm stuck doing last man standing on a Saturday morning again. It's also happened last episode. It's a lot harder to get matched with like a rando stand around do nothing AFK character if you're playing during prime time. All right, I got my 1 kill. Now it's time to just cowardly sit in this corner and hope that nobody sees me over at the safe zone. Sadly, only got 2 points. Somebody found me. All right, 4 points now, 3 to go. So I'm at 5 points and I'm at a good corner of the map to be a coward and sneak my way in here. As long as 1 more person dies before I do, I should get my 7 points for the cycle, but I'm hoping to get 3 or 4. I keep saying I want to be ahead by about 5 points so that once we do our 7th cycle of this, I'll be able to get the rune pouch. We'll see though. Actually going pretty well. I got 2 kills. Better than usual anyway. Yeah, I lost because I'm bad, but I still got 4 points, which means we're now 2 points ahead from this cycle, and I think a total of 4 points ahead across all cycles, because I end up getting 9 points now. Yeah, that's correct. Next cycle, if we get 7 points, we'll have 75, and I'll be able to get the rune pouch. That's really exciting. Awesome. All right, let me get my stuff together, and let's wrap up this cycle. Okay, hi, we're at the end of the cycle. If you want to skip to the chunk picker, you don't care about this summary, there should be a time code for you here. Let's start with the time. This took us 40 hours, 35 minutes to complete, and we're about 34 days, 22 hours of playtime in right now. So more than last cycle, but a lot of that was spent, sitting and cooking all the food I had in my bank. We have our nice little abbreviated task list here. Did everything there was to do for wood cutting, everything for fishing, everything for thieving, mining. This is what I was able to do for runecraft. Pretty much just did jute for hops and not a lot of farming this cycle. Everything I could for agility, got everything I can get at Sorcerer's Garden. All my construction training. Still couldn't buy steel nails. They're basically never in stock, so I skipped them. I guess I skipped the dairy cows and the Varrock pie dish, which I might regret down the line, but I don't want to go get them right now. I don't particularly care. Pickups are optional. I still can't do any of these tasks. And I've added an error tracking tab, so I accidentally double crafted water runes. I accidentally killed an extra chicken and an extra zombie, so these are things I have to fix next cycle. All right, here's the XP gain for this cycle. Mining, that's the most XP I've ever gotten in a single cycle outside of like processing cycles where I went nuts on fletching. 288k. We might realistically get 99 mining. It's a long ways away, like still thousands of hours to go, but it might be our first 99. Other skills on that list look pretty good. We'll talk about the difference with prior cycles here in a second when I show you the delta. That's the gist of XP gain. Delta from last cycle, cooking is way up because I decided to cook almost all of the raw food I had in my bank. Mining is up because I just had a better time with getting 2 shooting stars right when they landed and not having to deal with competition on them. Smithing's up because of the extra coal drops we got from Soul Wars and the Maze Random. Everything else is within the usual tolerances, it looks like. Thieving XP is down because I didn't complete the feud again. And prayer XP is down because I finally stopped picking up regular bones, but it's such a middling amount of prayer that I don't think it was... I think it was worth skipping them. This is average XP per skill ever since I started tracking it like 20 cycles ago. This kind of helps you to see how much I'm getting in general across most skills. We talked about this last time. And then finally, average delta. So this is the difference between the amount of XP I got for this skill and the average amount of XP I usually get from that skill, right? As far as exciting upcoming levels, I really like to get a way more agility levels, but that's going to be really hard to do if I'm not lamping it. 60 thieving is soon, but I don't think it really does too much for us. 65 is the level that we're looking forward to there. We need 17 hunter to catch baby implings with a butterfly net. I'm going to have to come up with a ruling for implings, by the way. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I know how I'm going to handle it for Puro, but as far as implings that spawn in the general game world, it's going to be really, really annoying to track, so... I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of solution to that. Oh, I should say 70 crafting, so it doesn't look like we're close to 70 crafting, but we will be as we continue to get stardust and trade it in for gem bags, because we can turn that into XP, and when we get to 70 is going to be a big threshold. 70 I can make a amulet of power, which is a pretty big upgrade. 74 crafting after that would be for making a combat bracelet, which would be a comparably huge upgrade. There's some stuff on the horizon. It's not too far off. Let's start looking at some other plugins here. I'll give you the scroll of the loot tracker. Supplies used, I forgot to show you before going to last man standing again. It doesn't matter, I guess. You can tell my last man standing performance. Literally don't use any of these outside of there. The law rune usage is primarily from Mage Training Arena. I guess I have to spend quite a bit in Mage Training Arena going forward now if I want to keep doing it once per cycle, but I think I'm just going to avoid it till I have enough runes in the bank to feel comfortable unlocking like Bones to Beaches or something like that. Random event list. Did get a Dunce and a Genie back to back. That was pretty cool. Maze random in here as well. We're gonna have the bank update here. We got magic logs, which is cool. Progress hat, a palm tree seed, some black plate legs, which are not a clue item, but I think they're required for a quest at some point. I also think I can buy them trivially, so it's not a big deal. Lantern lens, some purple firelighters, plenty of games necklaces, and rings of dueling. Pretty much just means that now I can roll the barbarian outpost. I'll add that to the chunk picker. I bought a staff of water. I got a seed dibber from a random drop, and I'm just going to keep it in my bank because I hate every time I forget to return these to the Tool Leprechaun. This shows up at the end of episode summary. And then 127 smithing catalysts, which I'm hoping to start using on adamant ore, make addy bars. All right, bank scroll. Here we go. I usually don't show you the music tracks, but I suppose I can do that today. This is already such a long summary that most people probably don't care, but I can try to do that every 5 or 10 episodes or something. All right, and then the deltas. So this is what changed in our bank compared to the end of the last cycle. We're down cosmic runes for making all that teleport jewelry. These, I went ahead and destroyed all this Halloween crap because I could just get it back trivially from Diango. I wasn't clear on how that worked exactly, but it was easy to just destroy most of it. I reclaimed some bank space with that. I came out ahead on coins, but that's just because I got to make so many swords in Giant's Foundry with all the extra coal. I might still come out ahead on coins next cycle since I'm going to get to make some Addy/Mithril swords, so we'll see how much money and XP that ends up granting. Okie dokie, I think that's everything to cover. It's time to roll the new chunk. Okay, here we are on the chunk picker. I went ahead and added Barbarian Outpost. This actually would kind of suck to roll. Not a lot of stuff I can do profitably right away. I guess I could do Barbarian Assault. Since Alfred Grimhand's bar crawl starts here, I don't think I'm allowed to say that I finished this chunk until I do that, and that's going to take a really long time with a lot of chunks I don't have access to. So you'll notice I have a bunch of new icons. Instead of having thumbs up and thumbs down, I've just kind of replaced most of those with skilling icons for the most relevant skill that's in a chunk. I think that's probably more informative than thumbs up, thumbs down notes, so I'll try to specify what those mean if it comes up.
As far as for what's changed this episode, nothing. Getting the Mage Training Arena was just an interior chunk, and I can't roll any of the stuff over here anyway. So no new rollable chunks other than the Barbarian Outpost, and I think I've already talked at length about everything else on this board. I think I'm extra interested in rolling Zia now, because once I roll Zia, I can add Wintertot as a teleport. Now, I don't get to go straight to Wintertot. I get this chunk, which I think is a useless reroll. There's nothing here. But then after that, I can roll Wintertot proper. I have to think about it, though. I think that this is just an instance room. I don't think this is a real chunk that you can walk into. Like, I think the doors literally are in this area. So I might have to rule similarly to Soul Isle. But I don't know. I did wait an extra chunk roll to do Temporos. So Soul Isle is unusual since it's actually 3 chunks, and these 3 chunks actually do exist in the real world. I can dip into little parts of it, even though I can't get into the part where you play the game. So most minigames send you into an instance version of that map, but in this case, there's actual real-life versions of the map that you can dip into even when you're not in the minigame. So I think that it's just confusing. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, I have rambled enough. Let's go ahead and pick the chunk. I'm hoping for something good here. Oh, okay. Camelot. Only a model. Right on. Yeah. This is nice. And this is one of the ones I added because I have enough law runes now that I'm basically infinite on them and I can teleport as much as I want. So we can teleport to Camelot now, which is a nice, it's a bit of a jump from our other unlocked areas. There are ice giants there that I don't think I can get to because I think they're up on this hill that I can't reach. So I'm not going to be able to complete the chunk, and it's definitely not a skippable chunk because there's a ton of quests that start here. I guess the nice thing is we got another bit of farming patches, so that's nice to have. No shops directly in this chunk, but it would be nice to roll the things that are around it. I'd be happy to get down into Catherby proper, some more fishing opportunities down there. Actually a fruit tree patch down in this corner, but that's 2 chunks away, so it's going to be a minute before we get there. This is kind of cool. I'm not super excited about it. There's 59 regular trees to chop. Oh no, even worse. 59 plus 51. Yeah, not super happy, but I think this is going to be good in that it unlocks a bunch of more interesting chunks all around it that I'll be looking forward to. So yeah, we'll be heading to Camelot next episode. Thanks folks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.